It's so hot right now, I could probably fry an egg on my garden bed, and it'd probably cook quicker than my tomato plants that are struggling along. But don't sweat it. I have got the ultimate list of low maintenance vegetables to plant in June and July here in Florida. These crops are heat tolerant, bug resistant, and so low maintenance you won't have to spend your entire summer melting into the mulch and battling a mosquito air force. Now make sure to stick around till the end, where I'll also give you a zero maintenance crop to plant for harvests all summer long. I originally planted this into my landscape purely for a pollinator attractor. It's a native plant, which, as you know, is my preferred method to attracting pollinators into my yard. And so it was something that I didn't have to water, could take the sun, could take the sand. I didn't have to worry about it. Great. Then I started learning more about it, and it is also used as both food and medicine. Spotted bee balm is an easy to grow herb. I have it planted here with my rose bushes, but it can generally be incorporated into your landscape anywhere and everywhere that you have a little bit of sun. As I said, it is a pollinator attractor, but it can also be tossed into salads for kind of like a spicy floral vibe, kind of nasturtium-like. You can use it in teas. You can also use it for medicine. It's known for being helpful for digestion if you have an upset tummy, especially also for fevers, helping to reduce fevers. You can even take a few pieces of the leaves and chew on them, and it's actually an antiseptic and antibacterial, microbial. So it's good, almost like a mouthwash of sorts. So lots of uses for this incredibly easy to grow plant. When I ask people about what they would like to grow, a common one might be beans. If I were to say, oh, you should totally try conch cowpea, they'd look at me like it was crazy. And they probably wouldn't grow it because they're not comfortable with it. They don't have the recipes to use. And that simple switch out is enough to prevent them from planting a crop. But if you can get past that, you're going to open the door to stuff that is so much easier to grow and still productive and can be used in the same ways you're familiar with. So in this case, my recommendation is to plant cowpeas, also known as southern peas, crowder peas, lots of different names. But the gist of it is it's a dry bean, just like the beans that you would buy at the grocery store, the kidney beans or the navy beans. Think of those and substitute in the cowpea for whatever the recipe is that you and your family love. If you are willing to start exploring some of these easy substitutions, I tried to make it a little easier for everybody. And we have a Rooted in Sunshine Florida Heirloom Cookbook, which basically helps get you more familiarized with those substitutions. There's recipes for cowpeas in here, roselle, Chinese python snake gourd, things that you might not have heard of before or used before, but taste great and are easily substituted into a lot of different recipes. If you're looking to pick up a copy of the cookbook, I do have digital as well as physical copies. I'll have a link down in the notes for you. These beans will produce some brown and speckled, some black-eyed, some white, just like a navy bean. There's black beans. There's all the beans that would normally fit what you would be used to that you can grow as a cowpea. But what's nice about the cowpeas is it can deal with our heat and humidity when most other drying beans tend to prefer more arid or dry climates. So this simple switch will get you the results you're looking for without all of the frustration. Some plants are perennial, some plants are annual, which means the annual plants die every single year or every season. The perennials will be there year after year. The more perennials we can work into our garden plan for food or medicine, the better, because then it's less work starting these plants over and over again for us. Now this tree, which may shut down our small space gardeners, but shouldn't, is a perennial and fits that easy, do it once, have it forever mentality. But even though this is a tree, it can be kept in containers. Now it's going to dwarf the size of the plant. You won't get as high a yields, but it can be done for any space, no matter what. And that tree that I am mentioning is moringa. This is also known as the tree of life. It has incredibly high nutrient density. It also has small amounts of protein, which is very uncommon for leafy greens. And it's just a all over easy to grow, well adapted plant to growing here in our environment. So regardless of whether you put it in a pot and keep it small, or you let it turn into a nice shade tree for your backyard, that is up to you. What I would encourage is that you grow some so that you have it for years to come. A lot of folks will taste moringa and say, no, thank you. And raw, it can be a little bit pungent. It's also known as the horseradish tree. But my trick of the trade that gets even children to eat it is to dry it. It makes the flavor a lot less powerful. And then I mix it into just about anything, whether it be soups or yogurt, smoothies, throw it into a little bit into everything, get that boost of nutrition with hardly any flavor. Drying it can be as simple as hanging it over a clothesline when we're not having a rainy season, or putting it into an actual dehydrator. Whatever the method, it will work just fine. And if you're getting used to moringa and you want to use it in some recipes, I do have recipes for it in that cookbook, so make sure to check out the link down below. With this plant, you get to grow your own salmon, kind of. This plant is incredibly high in omega-3 fatty acids, which is a lot of times what people are going for with those fish oil supplements. And it actually has 5 times more omega-3 fatty acids than spinach. So incredibly healthful plant along with all its other micronutrients. This wonderful plant is called purslane. And there are a lot of folks out there that consider this a weed, and I'd almost guarantee it's probably growing wild in your yard. But if something is that nutritious and easy to grow and delicious, why not let it grow? It's got a nice light lemony flavor to it, and it's nice and watery because it is a succulent. What I like to do is pick a branch of it, throw it in my fridge. When I get done in the garden, I'll go in there and take a little bite of that, and it's a nice, cool, refreshing treat. This plant is the only leafy green I can convince my daughter tastes good. And she will happily eat an entire salad of it, sometimes with dressing and sometimes just straight up plain. I've planted this at the farm school that I work at, and I can't get any of the plants to take because the children literally strip the leaves off before it has the slightest chance to grow. This plant not only pleases the kids, but myself as well. It is cranberry hibiscus, and it is one of those hibiscus family plants. It is not the same as roselle, where you're looking for that like fat red calyx for tea. This is a sister to that one. Now the leaves are what we are eating with the cranberry hibiscus, not that calyx portion. Tastes absolutely lovely out of hand. You can also use it in salads, which is our most common use for it. You can make teas with it, and we even have recipes for a cranberry hibiscus jam in that cookbook yet again. So if you are interested in growing an incredibly easy to grow annual, then this is the one for you. Very easy to eat, very tasty, and I think just about anybody will enjoy its flavor. When you are trying to maximize an urban landscape, you need to be able to sneak food into anywhere and everywhere possible. And that's what makes this next plant so fitting, is the fact that you can plant it into our native sandy soils. It can take the heat. It doesn't necessarily need supplemental irrigation. And the best part, you plant it once and you're going to harvest from it for 3 to 5 years before it finally dies. That is the best low maintenance plant you could possibly ask for. On top of that, it's a protein source, which is limited in an urban setting. And the plant that I am talking about is called pigeon pea, also known as ganjules. Now this is a Caribbean and Central America staple crop for that protein source. So this jar here of pigeon peas is from 3 plants, trees, small shrubs. So just to give you a frame of reference, we're talking about a couple of pounds of food from just 2 to 3 plants. And this was only one harvest. We still have more coming. So definitely anyone and everyone with a little bit of yard space should consider planting this staple crop. So the food is obviously great, but this is also a nitrogen fixing plant, which means it's kind of sort of like a slow release fertilizer. My favorite use for pigeon peas is to plant them next to fruit trees that you're getting established. It helps to feed the fruit tree that you're ideally looking to grow big and strong, and by the time that tree finally fills in and gets to size, the pigeon pea's shorter lifespan of 3 to 5 years means this is dead and gone, and your fruit tree is now alive and thriving. Caution, the last plant that I am sharing with you today is actually poisonous. Sometimes. If you plant this, it is a beautiful perennial vine with gorgeous flowers, but it does produce little pea pod looking, bean pod looking fruit. And that is the poisonous part. The flower, however, is what we're looking for, and that is completely safe to consume, zero toxicity or preparation issues involved. And that is what most people will use to make teas, food coloring, and all sorts of good stuff. Now, a lot of perennial vines can be quite aggressive. They get quite large. This is a nice, delicate, non-aggressive vine. So feel free to plant it next to a porch or patio so that you get the beautiful blooms next to you along a fence line. It's not going to be so crazy that it takes over anything. Now, the fun thing about butterfly pea is that when you make the tea, it turns the water a nice deep purple blue. But when you add acid, like lemon juice, for example, it turns into a vibrant pink color. So fun to have at parties or for children, and just to enjoy for yourself. I like to make little lemon ice cubes and drop them into the tea to cool it down, and then you get this beautiful cascading color effect. It's also used as a natural food dye. You can dry and powder the flowers and add that into frosting or whatever you're looking to dye without all of those nasty chemicals. I just gave you 7 shoo-in vegetables to plant in June and July here in Florida. But if the thought of being outside over the summer months is still making you cringe, make sure to watch this video next for a zero maintenance plant. After you plant it, you won't have to set foot in your garden again until fall.